timers here? Charles, are you a first timer? No, because he's one of our organizers. Yes, not you, Charles.
Andy, you're not a first timer.
We have a couple first timers. You know what we're gonna let you do? We're gonna let you stand up and tell us who you are.
My name is Zachary. I'm the owner, operator of Tipsy Carts. If anyone knows what that is, it's a free ride service on Beachside, sponsored by the Turkey Biz.
All right, very good. Welcome. Welcome. Thanks for coming out. Tell us how you got here today. Yes.
So I drove a golf cart that we give rides and all of our customers. And Andy over there invited me.
All right, very good. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, so thank you to him as well.
He knows a few people.
Yes.
That guy. And you?
My name is Jeremy. Valerie came to my launchpad session over at the Beach Airport. I'm also involved in sport mentorship, and my mentor, Jeremy, down here. So I'm here. I was very impressed with the presentation she gave and everything. So
shout out to me.
He's checking off all the boxes.
I know.
Anyone else here for the first time? Because y'all are veterans, now you need to just enjoy, sit back, you know what to do. This is Daytona Cinema Tea. They allow us to be here every Wednesday. They have this going on all throughout the month. The calendars are on the tables. Please share them. It's a great venue. You can rent it out too if you ever need it for a business meeting or anything, a party. It's a great venue. We couldn't do it without the support of Bush County Economic Development. We got to thank them for their financial support, and of course the volunteers that help out and you showing up every week. We have a great presentation. We've got Sunny and Renata, and they're here with StilGud. So let's give them a nice warm welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having us here at Cinematique. This is my favorite place to see a movie. So my name is Sunny. I'm a professional in the music merchandise space. This is my partner in crime, Renata, and we're presenting StilGud. So without further delay, we're just going to get into it. So our mission is to transform what's still good into something greater. I just want to put that with you guys. As we proceed here, stick that in the back of your mind. So I have a question for everybody here. Did anybody here watch the Super Bowl a few months ago? Raise your hand. You watched the Super Bowl? Okay. So, did you notice that when the winner of the Super Bowl comes out, they're already wearing championship merchandise? Does anybody know how they're able to make that happen? They produce it for both teams before the game even starts, way ahead of time. So obviously, there's a bunch of t-shirts for a losing team floating out, right? So this is a tiny glimpse into a much bigger issue because this happens everywhere. This happens in music merchandise. This happens in basically any type of merchandise that's ever printed. So merchandise often discarded, destroyed, or incinerated, and it ends up in the waste stream. It ends up in the garbage, it ends up in our streams and rivers. And this happens due to production fallout, it happens to overproduction, it happens to tight timelines, event-specific trends. So all of these factors contribute to merchandise that ends up in the waste stream. We like to say, in an industry built on speed and value, waste isn't an exception. And this is particularly true because there is a percent of fallout that's allowed anytime merchandise is produced. It's usually 1 to 3%. So it's expected that merchandise is going through an production, which leads to a waste. And just to show you guys, here's a clip from a promotional we did. All of this merchandise behind me, merchandise that has to be destroyed.
Oh, dear.
Now, the reason why it has to be destroyed is due to sensitive information. You know, if there is a composition, which is exactly what these black wrap skids are, where something happens in the production process where that merchandise can't be out in the world, it has to be physically destroyed because these clients are very sensitive. This is very sensitive material. So all of this is just one shop's worth, one portion of one shop's worth of merchandise waste, clothing, t-shirts that must get destroyed. So before we go into my solution, I want to tell you a little bit about me. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois. I was in a lot of high school bands, including me, playing in a high school band. And I went to college for audio engineering because I love music and I love being around music. I dropped out to my parents' chagrin to keep playing music, so I needed to do something with my life. get a job. So I became a bike messenger in downtown Chicago. It's quit a job now, but I delivered packages on a bike for many years, and that is how I got into logistics. So this is where I learned my work ethic. I continued to play bands through this time. I kind of learned more about the DIY music industry, music business, on a small level, but I did do it a little bit more professionally in that capacity. And I continued on my career. So essentially, there was open positions at my job to go from being forced to being in the back office. So I used my skills and intelligence to secure jobs in my career and become more of a professional. So I continued to grow my professional career. I worked at different places. I did logistics for America's largest rooftop greenhouse for a period of time. I experimented with other jobs in logistics, and I continued to find new places to do my career based on my personality and my skill sets. And I ended up in music merchandising. So that's where I've been ever since. I still do logistics in music merchandising, and I was still in Chicago at this time, but our company did open a facility in Daytona Beach a few years ago. So that's what brings me here with you all today. So I just want to tell you a little bit about how we got here. So the solution in our company is StilGud. We take material from merchandise and destroy it. We destroy the sensitive material and we reclaim the fabric that is not printed on and can still be used to make new products. Now, our goal is for these products to solve a different issue. So we want to take the waste and make products that help solve another environmental issue. So that is our mission at StilGud, is to transform what's still good into something greater. And how it all started, essentially, everyone's seen this, right? People walking out of Walmart, tons of plastic bags. People go through the self-checkout, they double bag, they got 50 bags in their cart. So one day I was leaving Walmart, I had my tote bag, because I hate these things. And I saw like 10 of these carts like this. And at work, we had just come into contact with about hundreds of tote bags that had to be destroyed due to a misprint issue. And I thought, I wish I could take these bags and hand these bags to these people that are using all these plastic bags. But the problem is it's sensitive material, right? It has to be destroyed. So initially I was like, what if we took them, printed over them, maybe sold one to fund the mission and gave half away? So I ruminated on this for a while. Actually, there aren't enough misprinted tote bags in the world. Even if you went to every shop around the country and collected all the misprinted tote bags or tote bag issues, there wouldn't be enough to viably sustain this mission, right? To be able to try to replace plastic bags. But what there is enough of is misprinted t-shirts and hoodies and things of the like. So our flagship product is the Rebag. So it's a bag that's stylized just like the plastic shop bag, but it's made out of reclaimed t-shirt fabric. So essentially what we do is we take a t-shirt, like a band t-shirt, and if it has a front print like this shirt, we're able to separate the front side from the back side. We're able to destroy the sensitive material, and then we're able to take the back side, which has no print on it, and use that swath of fabric to manufacture something new. And this is what we've come up with so far. So this is the Rebag. So we've got some here for 1 million cups.
Yay!
Renata is gonna walk around and just randomly select some tables and allow you guys to take the bags.
I have one already.
And touch and feel them. So Renata, if you don't mind. And I will note here, the bag at the point of sale form is kind of in a folded state, right? So once you kind of take the bag and open it up, just like a plastic bag, it doesn't necessarily return to the same kind of folded up state. So just keep that in mind as you're taking it off. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Rebag very quickly. Don't want to go on too long here. But essentially the Rebag lives between the tote bag and the plastic shopping bag, right? So all of the negative qualities of the tote bag and all the negative qualities of the plastic shopping bag are essentially reduced with the Rebag. The tote bag uses a lot of energy to be made, not environmentally friendly. The plastic shopping bag doesn't use a lot of energy to be made, which is environmental. But the Rebag, this material is already expended, the energy is already expended, and the material is going to be trashed. So there is no energy being expended other than the sewing and manufacturing process. The tote bag, plastic shopping bags. However, tote bags are durable yet bulky. Plastic shopping bags are durable and not bulky. And plastic shopping bags are cheap, bags are not. So as you can see, our bags are not bulky, but durable and reusable, and they just well like a plastic shopping bag. So we're trying to strike the in between here. So as you can see, we want to display just like a plastic shopping bag at point of sale. So this is from our as for the change in design here, but I just want to go over it very quickly. Its goal is to mirror exactly like a plastic shopping bag. Here and appearances, you guys can touch and feel. Another important factor is that it's easy to decorate. That's a term we use in the industry. Lots of different printing methods and decoration methods. And can be hard to decorate. And standard bags can be hard to decorate. Our bags, since they're made out of a t-shirt, one of the more easily decoratable items in the merchandise industry, very easy to decorate. Since we manufacture them, it can actually be decorated before construction, which is something that would normally happen with an outsourced product in China. So our bags are easy to print on and decorate, which is not the case with a lot of tote bags. We'll get into the tag a little bit later. We do have a tag, which is kind of the sole of the bag. And we do have hanging tabs, so we can kind of replicate the plastic bag here at point of sale. Not gonna ruin making these ourselves. So essentially, we just source the product. We work in the industry, so we do have access, but we source from anywhere that might make merchandise. We take stock, we make designs for it, we cut them in bulk, we shred, and then we sell it. We can also decorate, which is important with wholesale sales, and then packaging. Now, shredding and packaging is something that we're still working on. We do not have an industrial textile center at this time. And packaging is another thing that we want to display ready cartons where they can ship in a box like this, where you rip off the top and ready to hang and sell. Similar to what you would see in an Aldi, where they ship in boxes and they rip off the top and the cartons are what's on the shelves. So I want to talk quickly about our revenue streams. Our revenue will be direct to consumer, directly to people that care about reducing plastic bag waste, using tote bags on our website, similar to a clothing brand, with limited runs based on the textile that we can intake and create designs for and sell on our website. Another revenue stream would be the business to business. This is wholesale to brands, bands, retail stores. So essentially, this would be larger runs of bags that we can make. And then we also want to sell the decoration aspect of it, since we are in the merchandise decoration industry. We'd be able to also decorate the merchandise. So the store wanted to order bags, have their logo printed on it like we did here at 1 Million Cups. That's a service we would offer. And lastly, the destruction is a revenue stream as well. Now, believe it or not, merchandise destruction is very expensive. It's also hard to find for textiles. It's easy for other materials. For textiles, it's tough. It's very expensive. So essentially, we create a circular revenue stream where we pay in the product for the sensitive material, but then that material we're being paid to intake, we also use to create a product that we can sell.
Nice.
So it's a fully circular revenue system, as long as we can make destruction viable. Very quickly, I want to talk about our marketing approach. So you may know about Tom's, where you buy one, they give one to someone in need. We have a similar model, buy one, give some. It goes back to what I was talking about with, I just want to give away bags to these people at Walmart using 100 bags, right? So basically, for every 10 bags sold, we want to give one away. And we want to do that at live activations outside Walmart. We want to go outside Walmart, wave our hands around and say, we're giving stuff away for free, come talk to us. And go to stores where there's individuals that are highly prone to use single-use plastic that are walking out 50 of these things, give them bags. And we want to build these moments, have these live activations, and then we want to use that as marketing material on social media. So we create these storytelling moments inside these stores, giving it away for free and saying, look, we're taking this merchandise industry waste, we're reducing single-use plastic, and this is what's happening in real time outside these stores. So that's our marketing approach. We want to share that, we want to do that, share that on social media, and that's how we want to find our customer base, because we have to find a customer base that's passionate about reducing waste and passionate about reducing plastic. So that's how we want to do that. Our impact is trackable. This is on every tag. If anybody has a tag, you can see this. But we basically put the amount of bags diverted from landfill, which is the total bags produced times 10, since each bag should be able to replace at least 10 plastic bags. Garments repurposed, it takes 2 garments to make a bag, so that's the total amount of bags times 2. And bags donated to high impact users, that's the amount of bags divided by 10, since we give away 1 for every 10 produced. The live count is listed on every tag for every batch. So we do keep track of that. And in addition to that, we also built a system where there's a unique batch code, kind of like a record label. If you're a record nerd, you can go and you can look at a code on the back of the record, and it tells you how many were made, what run it is, what print it is. So we've implemented a similar system that tells you a bit about the bag, where the bag was in production. To kind of give it a little bit of a nerdy aspect, someone that wants to track that. So here's an example of a tag we did for a band. You can see here's the amount of garments repurposed, plastic bags replaced, bags donated, and here's our coding system. This was batch 3-1-1, which I'm not going to get into right now, but that code can tell you something. And then it was an addition of 10, so also it tells you how many were made. So it creates a little bit of a rarity around the bag and gives you some information.
Nice.
So I do, after talking so much about the rebag, want to point out the rebag is just our first product, but that's because this is what we're working on with the swaths of fabric that we currently have. However, we want to make more products. Once we have a shred and have a bunch of this type of looking material, shredded up t-shirt material, which can be used to make product itself. These products we've talked about are sandbag replacements, environmentally friendly packaging filler, blankets. There's lots of things that you can do with it. And you can also use the swaths of fabric to make other things, like maybe more luxury or durable bags, even clothing. So the rebag product we want to continue more waste. I've got so a big question I have is, how do you approach consumer education? I know that it takes a bit to educate you guys about the amount of waste that we produce in the merchandise industry. So how do you approach that? Because if you have to educate someone that there's a problem, then it's going to be harder to sell it if you have to educate them first. How do you balance building a new venture with a career? I'm a very busy person with a job. I have lessons around this every day. So figure out how you guys balance that and when you took the leap. How do you got word out of here? She's the only one crazy enough to go for your time and sometimes money to the mission here. But how do you bring other people aboard? And I also want to talk about how we want to outsource, but we also have a lot of pride in making the bags ourselves. It takes us a lot of time though. It'd be more cost effective if we could outsource. But being a company that works to find customers that care about the environment and plastic use, and it's important to us that these are not even a sweatshop, right? Because that'd be against the that we have going. So how do you evaluate outsourcing and having less cost versus the pride you have in making the bag yourself and how that goes towards the mission? And last but not least, anybody that's touched the bag, I want to know what you on a store shelf. What kind of price point would you put on it? This is something that we've discussed for quite a while here. So that's all. Thank you guys for listening.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a great presentation. You guys did good. Very impressive. Let me ask you before we get to the audience, for those of you who are new, we're going to go ahead and do Q&A kind of thing, comments, ideas, anything you have that can help Sunny and how to build this business. Put up your hand, I'll come around and grab it. The first question I've got right now is, where are you at right now with your project and your business? Are you guys basically hand cutting these pieces and then putting them into a product?
We have a small manufacturing process going here. It's not hand cutting as you might imagine. We do cut in bulk. You can see here.
Damn.
We have like about 1 million bags cut here. That's like a huge stack of fabric. So we do hand cut them, yes, but we do have a process. It's the part that takes longer is the sewing. Yeah, this is sewing. So yeah, we are doing it ourselves. Yeah, simple.
Hey, great presentation, Sonny. One of the better ones I've seen in a long time. You did a fantastic job getting your message across to us. Would you agree, everybody?
Yes.
So thinking of ideas, why you're talking about this, I get an opportunity to play in a lot of golf tournaments, and we get these goodie bags, and they're usually sponsored by some Health or Advent or anyone. But you know, I've looked at as a manager for our company, was to buy these bags, and the cost was just didn't make sense to me. So I think there's a market there with all these businesses that love to big community sponsors. I mean, so many big businesses that give back to our community, and they always tend to be sponsoring. They have these bags, which are very expensive to get, and you buy them in bulk. They might buy thousands of them because they need all year long. That might be a good one for you. You could probably save them money and give you guys a great opportunity because it's actually a better bag. It's really cool.
So
And you asked about what would I pay. I don't need to pay because guess what? I've been to enough golf tournaments where I've got more of these bags than I can handle in my garage right now, and I don't want another one. So I wouldn't need to buy one because I get them all the time. So that's kind of your challenge. Maybe selling these to individuals or selling to corporations, marketing your product. This is right here. Okay?
ABC. Who's next? In the back.
Hi, Peter, Practical Unit Marketing. So, yeah, great presentation. So what I got from the presentation is that you're professional, you've got all the requisite skills, you've got a good operation, you've got the basis of, this feels like a good business. I've just got a couple of comments that, part of my reaction to any presentation here is how do I feel about it? And there might be some opportunities in here that you might not be seeing. My first comment is that when you think about Walmart, you think about cheap bags, you're thinking about commodification, which is as cheap as you possibly can. That's very hard to do in a new startup business because you're competing with people that are infinitely bigger scale than you. So that might not be these bags as shopping bags. I don't feel it to shop. I felt like this is the kind of thing I take to the beach, or I have a relationship with. So that was the first comment. And then you said something in your future plans that you said children's clothes. This is why that's interesting. You're effectively a recycling business, but if you say truly what is your value to the market, you could make the argument that you're saving the world. That's what you're doing. And children represent the future. And so any parent is not worried so much about cost, they're worried about the world that they're doing for their children. And you have this really wonderful and StilGud, it's other people's branding on your clothes. Why not brand a whole range of children with the StilGud brand and make it really cool, StilGud kid?
Oh, I like that. StilGud kid. I like that.
Who else? There we are, right here.
Good idea, and you have an idea for that. I'll put the first one and the last one. But my experience also is I have a product with biodegradable, non-toxic, all that stuff. The reality is they don't care. They say they say care until they have to pay. They don't care. What they care about is it work better. If you say your product is better, then they'll buy into it. Not so much weight can I carry 500 pounds, 50 pounds.
It can carry a lot, yeah. You use them, that.
These are the kind of things you need to say. They carry more weight than plastic. You carry more weight, and you have to get into people's heads. This is perfect. Not because it's in the bag, they don't care. It's better because you're think you can carry more of this. You gotta try that. This guerrilla market. Print a bunch of them up with your on them. Get a bunch of people, go to the mall, hand them out all around the mall. Go to the mall, go to the big mall, busy mall. Walk around with the back. Video tape. Before they catch you. These are the things you do. Get your name out there, put it up on YouTube, put it up on everything. Create guerrilla marketing, create talk. So thank you.
Hi, I've looked at all your questions. Can I answer any of those? Answer with me whether or not these bags can be used by people that do sublimation printing.
Yeah, so that's a great question. You know, sublimation printing depends on the type of fabric that the bags are made out of. So the fact that it's recycled material from whatever material we can back will be available based on the makeup of the garment that has been recycled. You track that.
And one of the questions I can answer, you were looking for how to outsource it and where to outsource it to. There's a lot of people out there doing on-demand printing. And I tend to think that might be a market for you where you could come up with sublimation printing type materials on whatever it is, whether they're bags or clothing or whatever you're making. As long as it can be printed on by those people, I think that might be one of the Of course, you know, think about what you have to get, how much it's costing you to make, then quadruple it for sure. And then you'll, whether you hold or whether you can retail, numbers possible. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
I was just thinking as I was watching this that one of my favorite shirts I've ever owned came from the museum design store in New York City. It paid a premium, and it was free materials. It was a really good shirt, and I loved it forever. And part of the selling was, you know, was recyclable. That was great. I also have been known to pay Patagonia for their fleeces made from recycled soda bottles.
Yep.
I'm thinking that not only, you know, some might want to consider coming up with a way to use basic materials like, you know, knitting or thread or whatever, using this, and that would be great use for people who do DIY stuff or having your stuff someplace like the design museum or something like that, because I know they really.
So seeing those photos brings me nightmares of my childhood. Family owned a clothing manufacturing company, had 100 or so seamsters working for them. I spent my laying fabric using a machine like that, cutting patterns. You're going to have a hard time if you do not have.
Yeah.
I mean, extremely hard time. In the late 90s, they basically shut down all in-house production. Everything went overseas, which is in our label. And that was the only reason they were able to keep that business going, because it became way too expensive to do it. And I like the idea, it's cool. I like the idea that about doing your own brand with something. So I do like your logo. I think there's some marketability to that. If you're going to do this in-house, it may be more of a hobby than a saleable business, right? This is something you're going to really push forward. As much as you don't want that route, that's going to be the only way you're going to be able to do So you're gonna have to make that decision. Is this gonna be something we're gonna do because it feels good and we know it's not gonna create any revenue for us? Or is this gonna be a business where we can still feel good about it to an extent, but we want to be profitable at the same time? So that's the challenge you're gonna have to face.
I think that's something we needed to hear for sure. I mean, we've done a couple events. We've made batches of bags for some small answers to see how they work at a merchandise table and stuff. And we've quickly come to realize it's making us do our bags when we try to price them out. The amount that we spend manufacturing the bags, basically, then we figure out how to outsource it, and whether or not that we try to stay unless we're going outside of the country. So it's just something that we're grappling with, but unfortunately, I think that's the way we're gonna have to turn. We can't make these forever. We will have to harvest the fabric ourselves, which we can handle.
Nice.
Hi, my name is Jeff Murphy. I just wanted to ask you a question. It's not more about solving your problem, but maybe about sellability. I know that we have a couple reusable bags in our life, and they tuck inside of each other, and then you just hang them on purse, whatever. Problem with a lot of the reusable bags is people never bring them inside. You got 20 of them in your car, it's kind of a pain. So you guys figure out a tuck system, because you have all the t-shirt material anyway, and how to daisy chain them together. I think you can also have that on top of, being able to carry more weight. You'll also be able to carry, make a system so that they stay in person.
Awesome, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. How you doing?
Good.
I might ask a question. This past weekend, and I'm sure they got a ton of leftover shirts. Where do you guys get your material from? What's your main source of material?
We printed a lot of those Rockville shirts.
Oh.
So, yeah, so we're in the industry. We have access to, like I showed in that photo, there's already a bunch of ways that we encounter life at work. And there's print shops everywhere, in Central Florida alone. So the idea would be to create a network of print shops, not only print clients, right? Because our clients will tell us to have this merchandise destroyed, and we build it for that, So there's companies that need resources destroyed. There's a small industry for destroying this stuff. There's also kind of a hidden space, right, of print shops with extra stuff that needs to get destroyed, but they don't really want to deal with it. So we kind of want to be a contact to say, we'll get rid of it for you. Just send it on over to us, and then we can make a product out of it.
Did you, off of that part of the business, is it profitable to just get the material and have it already built in?
Yeah, absolutely. The destruction is definitely one of the ways that bring in some revenue, and we want to be the go-to guy now for Texas. Since we have connections in the industry, we want to go to guys to say, you have this pop artist merch that you don't want people to know about, just get in contact with us. We'll make it disappear, environmentally friendly. We want to be the go-to people.
Hey, so I've lived in an area with polystyrene systems, plastic bags, in Hawaii. I lived out there. One thing that they did not replace them with anything else, except selling bags. Like, you're trying to replace something that costs a penny and a half, or just a penny. So grocery stores will not voluntarily give these away. They'll sell them to the customers, maybe. Like today, they said you want plastic or we sell them for $1, $2, $3. What would that price be?
That's kind of my last question, right? This is something we're juggling. We want to be responsible to the customer that, okay, this is replacing a plastic bag, right? But we want to retain the excitability of tote bags, feedback that we all is, well, I got a million of these, I wouldn't even buy one. But people still market for them. I don't know if you guys know about Joe's tote bags.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
all the rage. Everybody wants one. They come out with a new color.
Correct.
Everybody rushes to the store to buy them.
Yeah.
So, we kind of want to tap in between that and the plastic shopping bag where, it's not maybe as much as a full-fledged bag, but it's still reusable and kind of replaces a plastic bag. So the price point for me has always been sitting in between the price of a full-fledged tote bag and the basically low to no cost of the plastic bag. And that's the problem that we encounter because it's going to be really hard to get the cost low enough to compete with a plastic bag, right? So, right, exactly. So, we have to tap into that environmentally friendly aspect of it and, sell the fact that it's an environmentally friendly good out of recycled material and, sell the hype up a little bit and hopefully also here's the problem is that some of these tote bags coming from overseas, we're talking about huge companies that want to do these giveaways, they print a one color logo on it and hand these things out. They can get them for less than $1, cents on the dollar. So, that's what we're competing with. And it's going to be tough to figure out what the right price point is.
I think on top of that one, your product, like other people have said, right now you're building something that replaces something that costs a penny. That's pretty close to a t-shirt right there, And a t-shirt, you're replacing something that costs $5 or more. Seems like that would be easier to build a business. It's going to be hard to build a business based on something that replaces something that costs a penny, or less. And somebody else said people don't want those bags. A lot of people do want the bags, like you're talking about Trader Joe's and everything. Like I lived in Hawaii, and it was a culture, everybody wanted these bags. Because it's just, you have to create that people to create bags. Are there platforms be made illegal, like they did in the early 2000s? Is that going to be in the future?
Yeah. Yep.
Making plastic bags, because that would help you a lot. Plastic bags are illegal. You don't have to compete with it.
Right.
Something that's happening or not?
Yep, it's happening. 100%. Yep.
Yeah, I'm from. There's like a bag tax.
Yep.
You have to pay
Yep.
if you. Kind of our approach here that it's put in the same as the plastic. Customer recognize maybe there's another option if they're going to be anyway. Maybe they can get the reusable option.
Correct.
Hi, great presentation. My name is Chris Novis. I'll say one of your questions was about how do you get people to you? And I'm in the process now where it's like help from experts, but don't have money to pay them. And what I have found is that if you ask people, they'll help you. My first life is reached out for executives in industries that would be beneficial to me, and I've just simply asked them, can you help me? And they say yes. And some can trade a tiny bit, 4% of equity, not a lot, just you touch in to get you into people that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So that's
awesome. Love it.
Good idea to reach to an expert up in or something. Email them, maybe some ideas. No cost. People want to help.
Question about the tag. You might have already covered this, but it says assembled. Is that explain that? And is it
Yes, sir.
required to say that on the tag?
So in the printing industry, garment like the textile originally from the Dominican Republic. So in the printing industry, like a lot of these will rip the tag and then print a new tag with their logo on it, and it's the law that you have to put where the textile comes from. We haven't totally done a bunch of research at this point yet on whether or not we legally have to put that as made in the Dominican Republic. We've been doing it just as good practice, but that's something we're going to do to see whether or not we have to put that on the tag. But either way, it was made in the Dominican Republic, the actual textile, right? So, credit where credit is due.
But some of your, they're not all from the Dominican Republic, right?
That specific garment that was recycled is from the Dominican Republic, yes.
I looked into that, you have to have the RN number. There's an RN that tells people they have to do a little bit of research, but put that on.
Hi, John Howell. A couple of things. One is the actually outlaw plastic bags in Oregon, Oregon, but as for the where it says it was made in the Dominican Republic, possibly changing to original garment was produced, so that they know that's where the original production. So the fact that the bag wasn't assembled, but it was made originally, the original garment was. An idea for connections is the tote bags, the way they are, the bags look like this, and this is tying into the written spot, somewhat connection with the rock, trying to connect with NASCAR on their merchandise, able to produce NASCAR bag, even for each specific team. And all of their merchandise, huge sponsors. There's a lot of leftover materials that you would go contract to get back and recycle back to the teams.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, those NASCAR merch haulers, that's a totally whole different world of merchandise too, so that's a great idea.
You guys are kidding me.
Hey, with municipal pressure painting. You guys in the gym actually at gold.
Oh, I actually left gold at my crunch now.
Oh, look at you.
Oh, man. When they closed down the Morgan Beach, it got too rowdy there, but awesome, yeah.
Kind of thinking like you may want to in like 2-3 companies at some point, like a 1C3 incorporated business, like focusing on the construction side of it, and letting that kind of be the thing that catapult. And was also thinking, like the whole concept, the bags are cool, the way that they're done. I haven't seen a bag like it, at least I haven't. And touch with all the information, and it kind of gives like a personal touch and a connection to it. It being like a limited quantity, I like that you capitalized on that, especially you being small. That's kind of the thing that, like, you know, like I want one. I'm mad that I don't have one. You only did 11?
Yeah, we made 11 for
That's it. Not 1 million.
But yeah, but having like people volunteer, like like having people who volunteer who actually care about the cause, and you let their time, and however you can compensate them down the road, let it be a flat out incentive, like you are volunteering, and you know we're manufacturing it here in the U.S. and it's like there's a price to that. Or finding a country that you have a cause for, and like actually trying to build that infrastructure someplace may have been affected, like Haiti or even Puerto Rico, because that's still America to an extent. So just like trying to help build that infrastructure and give them jobs and help them kind of fast with being a part of the American economy. Those are my thoughts.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a great idea.
All right. Anybody else? Great job, guys. Wonderful job. We wish you the best of luck. We're going to bring up the lights here and finish up today. We're going to make some mingle around afterwards if you want to. But we're going to have everybody come on up here.